The Great White Tribe is an old meme, but still checks out, at least in my mind. And we're talking about what is the white race, which is totally going to go on YouTube. Because the thing is...
Is it?
Yeah, it actually is. Because the Great White Tribe, as that meme says, there is no white people in the white race anymore. In fact, it is the entirely opposite case. That the white race...
Does this make me mad or something?
It's made up of 0 white people, so I don't know what you are, but you're not in the white race anymore. At least according to left-wing academics, who have really come back at the race science with some new measurements.
Okay, because I thought in one side of the race science, I thought white people only count if you're Anglo-Saxon/Scandinavian, so basically just from like the northernmost parts of Europe.
That's the old way of
unless
thinking.
you're Celtic, at which point you don't count.
No, we have much more
Americans
advanced
think
methods.
that all Europe is white, even though the Europeans themselves would probably argue about that for decades if you let them.
Plenty of Americans will as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, we shall begin, because to start off, just want to mention a premium podcast. Debate might as well be dead, because, well, facts don't literally mean anything anymore, apparently. And that's what we're going to go through, because you might remember the phrase, the Great White Tribe. It's an old joke, essentially, if you got a link here, just detailing that it comes from Rhodesia, South Africa. The joke there being that, like, yes, these people are tribals, which is just funny. And he made it into its own little song as well, which I do actually recommend. It's a funny-ass song.
He did actually play this for me right before the podcast went on. It's a pretty chill song. I quite enjoyed it.
Like, it's not a guy, it's not some white supremacist stuff, it's literally just a description of what happened at the time. Anyway, but we'll go to Larry Elder, who of course joined the Great White Tribe back when he ran for office. Remember this?
Yes, I remember he was the black face of white supremacy, as we've seen here.
You've been warned.
Oh, I've been warned, have I?
I don't know what the warning's about.
Tagline. Is the warning not to trust him?
Dun, 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 dun. He gets into office. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ban black people.
Puts the gun to his own temple, starting with me.
No, he's white, of course.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I forgot. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
He must have taken the Justin Trudeau approach.
To remind everyone about why exactly Larry Elder is white, yeah, okay. He leaned forward to gaze across the room of white Republicans who had come to hear him speak in Orange County.
This is getting romantic already.
Quote, rising crime? It's because of this phony narrative that the police are engaging in systemic racism and cops are pulling back, Elder said. When you reduce the possibility of a bad guy getting caught, getting convicted, and getting incarcerated, guess what? Crime goes up. It's a very white statement.
That's pretty racist, bro.
Saying that maybe criminals should go to jail. Can't believe he would do this.
The only people who've ever believed that in the past have been white people.
At least according to one of the founding members of BLM, Abdullah over here of Black Lives Matter is given a quote
from Black Lives Matter.
Yes, local millionaire says, quote, anytime you put a blackface on white supremacy.
Local property mogul Abdullah.
Local top hat owner and tuxedo wearer.
Well, speaking as a black man.
Whipping her cane. God. Whenever you put a black face on white supremacy, which is what Larry Elder is, there are people who will utilize that as an opportunity to deny white supremacy. They say, how could this be white supremacy? This is a black man. Think about that statement for a minute, oh Miss Millionaire. But everything that he's been pushing, everything he stands for, is advancing white supremacy, such as criminalizing crime. I mean, I know it's a radical policy. I mean, you've got criminalizing drugs and there's criminalizing crime, which is also on the ticket.
I'm sorry, this is such a contrast because this is in the Los Angeles Times. The last time I read something from the Los Angeles Times was yesterday when I was going back through some archives and was made aware that Lou Rockwell of the Mises Institute wrote an article in the early 90s for the LA Times defending the police officers that beat Rodney King. So the LA Times has taken quite the shift here.
They've now become, crime? Is it that bad? Yeah. Do you really deserve justice, or do you deserve a black eye, Miss Asian Lady? That's unironically their position now. And I love how we had to go for local millionaire to get that piece of enlightening knowledge.
Local monopoly man.
Larry Elder is a black man. No, he is a white man, says local millionaire. More news at 10. Anyway, so criminalizing crime, that if you believe that makes you part of the Great White Tribe. But there is another article that Carl sent me earlier, which Oh boy. Here we go. This is an old one, but I'm
sorry, this image. If they were all reading, someone needs to Photoshop this where they're all reading Mein Kampf.
no, they're not reading Mein Kampf, as the writer will let us know, and they're not looking at Cock and Balls 1, 2, 3 either. Chat, stop. So this is a headline called "White Nationalism is Spreading Through the Orthodox Community."
He shows up everywhere.
He's got some good videos. What
You
can I
can't
say?
escape the cock and balls.
Anyway, so Jews are now in the Great White Tribe. I think that they're like the top Great White Tribe here of all time.
I mean, if they count,
Because oh boy, this is going to get rather spicy. I'm not even joking.
all right.
The thing is, like, people think of Israel, and they've got many views, but I don't really have a care. But the thing in Israel I do find extremely funny is just how blunt they are when it comes to politics, and we're going to read some of that. So the writer says, something disturbing has been happening in the Orthodox world. White nationalist language is infiltrating our public spaces. It's happening in our synagogues, in our communities, in our schools, and of course, online. There was...
Oh no, they found 4chan.
I do love there is actually a meme on 4chan, which is like, the polled hearts on 4chan will come up with some devious plan. Like, it's okay to be white, for example.
Was that 4chan?
That was 4chan.
Oh, nice.
That made up that campaign poster. And I remember at the time, there was a guy from Israel, because your flag comes up on that website, who proposed, let's take this a step further, lads. What if we start, like, getting rid of the ink? Like, we make the transparency lower and lower and lower on the ink, to the point that a white sheet of paper becomes the new symbol of white supremacy?
That's genius.
And just, like, all the comments responding to this guy were just like, only a Jew could be this devious.
It's a beautiful melding of mind, a meeting of worlds.
I just find it funny how, like, the international world of white supremacy includes, like, everyone.
It's always, the white supremacists are easily the most diverse community.
Yeah. You ever seen poll meetups?
Yeah, you've shown me a few images from them.
Massively multiracial. It's the funniest thing in the world.
I'm sorry, I don't want to spoil anything, but I can already notice here mention of like Spencer, David Duke.
I know it's gonna get there.
Donald Trump. But interestingly enough, speaking of that, like before he was outed as an evil anti-Semite, I know that Richard Spencer was collaborating with notable conservative Jew Paul Gottfried on books and such things. So
I'm not familiar with him. I don't think
it's the nice multiracial, multi-ethnic white supremacy right there.
Anyway, they say there was always some racism in our communities, of course. We begun to address it around the time of Barack Obama being elected president, when calling black people, I'm not going to say that, a derogatory term for a black person finally became taboo, which, to be honest, I wasn't aware of, and also just think is really funny. In like 2008, you got a bunch of Jewish people like, that slur we use for black people, maybe we should stop using that. Like 2008 is when you're having that conversation.
I didn't know there was a specific Jewish slur for black people.
I think it's, I presume it's Yiddish or Hebrew, who knows, but whatever. I'm just going to leave that there.
I'm so tempted, but I shouldn't. Just in case.
I assume it's Yiddish, because like, it's very close to the German word for the word black, which...
Yeah, you could read it there. There it is.
Anyway.
It probably sounds like hearty.
Yeah, anyway. But they say, but what we're seeing...
Those hearty blacks.
What we're seeing now is new. It's different. It's not just plain racism. This is M&S racism. No.
As for price racism.
Or hatred and judgment of a group of people because of their skin pigment. Rather, what I and others have been noticing in our communities is an emergence of a philosophy, one that the Trump era is increasingly bringing into stark relief. It's the philosophy of white nationalism. Yeah, that wasn't Trump. For one. I mean, this is 2 years into Trump's presidency. So yeah, okay. There's nothing to do with that, but whatever. It justifies racism, and it's spreading like a virus amongst Orthodox Jews. 15 years ago, you might hear the word...
hearty.
In a synagogue, but you wouldn't hear justifications for deporting black people to Africa. Today, you probably won't hear a racist slur, at least, not without some sheepishness, but you will hear talking points you can find on David Duke's Twitter feed in your local Israeli synagogue. It's just like, where the hell is this going? In other words, a significant group of Jews have moved from casual racism to high-tier,
Professional racism.
into an embrace of all-out but anti-Semitic aspects of modern white supremacist philosophy. Like, where are you going with this? I really don't think... Like, I mean, it's a tough sell to convince me that local Israeli synagogues are now just So let's draw some cartoons, for example.
This is literally going to be like the most milquetoast basic bitch nationalism, isn't it?
It certainly is. A few weeks ago, President Trump reportedly called Haiti and other countries in Africa S-hole countries. I was amazed how similar many of my pro-Trump Orthodox Jews I knew sounded in comparison with Spencer, Duke, and Trump himself. I was like, what? But this is in relation to the fact that David Duke and Spencer were like, well, yeah, they are S-holes. I was like, yeah.
And I don't have to be aligned with David Duke to go like, would you want to live in any of these S-hole countries he listed?
I mean, if you've not seen like the guy who's from Reason go to Haiti, like his video, it's such a meme.
Nick Gillespie?
Yeah, the dirt cookies.
I've not seen that actually. I might need to watch it.
Oh, I should have brought it up then. It's I'll describe it because
Yeah.
Local non-S-hole country.
All right.
The locals bread is so expensive for them that they make dirt cookies. And the cookies are made from mixing flour with dirt. And what you do is you have this, like, gross paste, and you have your dirty-ass, like, blanket that you lay out in the school field right next to an open sewer. Like, this is visually the video. There's an open sewer next to it. You rub your little dirt cookies into a cookie shape, and then you have them bake in the sun, because they're dirt, and then you eat the dirt cookies.
I'm pretty sure, literally, that Ukrainians did that during the Holodomor.
I don't think they even got dirt cookies, but I think that's a luxury of wonderful countries such as Haiti.
Oh, okay. So Haiti at least had flour. Oh, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, there you are. It ain't pretty.
No, that's not nice.
No, they don't look flavorful either. They call them bonbon terre in Haiti. So, there you have it. Enjoy. Getting back to the opinions on such things, so one local Jew upset this man by saying, opinion number A, El Salvador isn't an S-hole. They don't need 17 years of temporary protected status, and migrants from there should be sent home immediately. Or option B, my friend, El Salvador is in fact an S-hole. And the local writer who listened to that got very upset because
that's an excellent way to turn the argument around.
Yeah, it's like either they don't deserve refugee status because it's not an asshole, or it's an asshole. And I know literally it's the red button meme, but the guy's brain did explode because he doesn't actually have a counter-argument. He says another Orthodox friend of his, who had left South Africa for Israel, remarked, "I'm so glad I emigrated from an S-hole."
That's fantastic. And this author is like,
Jews, white. another Jew wrote, so how many snowflakes would you like to move to Haiti? So, all of them, I'm sure they can find out. When I ferociously wondered if the commenter also believed in a white genocide, a term popularized in the white nationalist community, the person responded, I have no idea what you are talking about. I don't know any white supremacists, and I don't know what they sound like. By genocide, do you mean blacks murdering white farmers in South Africa? He has no counter-argument to that either. I can see Michael being like, oh, God.
Michael's hyperventilating over there. Are we sure this is going to end up on YouTube?
Yeah, because it's local Jewish men's opinions, and I want to make sure all the voices are included in the debate.
Is this forward article a psyop in favour of these opinions? Because he's not presenting a good counter-argument.
Well, he doesn't present any counter-argument. That's the weird thing in this thing. He's like,
here's me listing some opinions I heard at my local synagogue.
Yeah, and he's just like, well, this proves that Jews are white because they're full of hate. I'm not even joking, that's what we're going to get to. He says, and it wasn't just in my orbit either. Soon I heard from friends, liberal Orthodox Jews like me, who listened in horror as online comments were repeated in a synagogue on Shabbat. I learned from Trump's S-hole comment was that the president's dog whistles aren't only being heard by the alt-right anymore. The countries dominated by blacks aren't S-holes. Sorry, by blacks are S-holes was the broad consensus he heard in his synagogue. The thing is, Mr. Author, why are you saying El Salvador is a majority black country? You've made that leap. No one said that countries who are majority black are assholes. Like, they said that these countries are assholes. So, I mean, you listed El Salvador earlier as an example. You're the one making that leap, my friend, no one else. Whilst the Anti-Defamation League, a American Jewish committee, and the Reform Movement spoke stridently against Donald Trump's words, in Israel, not so much.
I was wondering when the ADL were going to jump into this conversation.
Yeah, he lists there is some backlash from Israel, which a local soup kitchen run by an anti-Trump Hasidic Jewish group lost a bunch of donors when it protested the Muslim ban.
I wonder why.
It's Israeli politics. And he says it's not David Duke or Richard Spencer who are doing such things. It's actually other such neo-Nazis, such as Dennis Prager.
All right. I mean, I know that Forward is some leftist shill rag for the most part, so I'm not surprised that they're just saying Dennis Prager equals Nazi.
Yes, and Ben Shapiro, who we're going to get to as well. He says,
Ben Shapiro, one of the biggest Israel shills I've ever heard of.
yeah, well, he loves it.
I suppose so. Yeah, that's what Hitler was fighting for, the rights of Israel.
This episode is sponsored by my good friend. No, it didn't happen. That's complete bollocks, you lunatic. Anyway, but the quote from Ben Shapiro is, the argument that Trump is wrong to call some countries S-hole comes down to nicety, not truth. And the author presents this as if it's like, how could he say such a thing?
I mean, yeah, this just shows what kind of magazine this is, Forward, because it's not presenting counter-arguments, it's just stating what was said and expecting you to be indignant automatically.
Aren't you outraged? And also, aren't these people a bunch of whites? He says, these thinkers and leaders, Ben Shapiro, are influencing orthodox values with hate. Yeah, that's what I think with Ben Shapiro. I think of hate monger. Anyway, but also to tell the truth about the dirt cookies, that is hate, and to be hateful is to be white. There you have it. So there's another group in the Great White Tribe. The last group to add to the Great White Tribe, which is hilarious, is of course Asians, who have been in the Great White Tribe for a long time. I don't think they get a say in this.
Since like the mid-30s, maybe.
Yeah, I love this. Like the headline here is, "Are Asian Americans white? Or people of color?"
I mean, they're Asian, aren't they?
You would have thought.
That's generally my argument.
Opening line, borrowing from W.E.B. Du Bois,
That's a bad start.
Color line metaphor. Yeah, the guy got the Lenin Award. Some racial justice activists have asked whether Asian Americans are left or right of the color line.
So they're literally just asking, are Asian Americans typically more left or right wing? If they're more right wing, they're white.
I can never get over just how like base left wing racial politics is, where of all days they'll be like, what you're saying is absolutely abhorrent, and then the next day they'll be like, right, so I've got my colour swatch out to determine whether or not Asians are in the white camp anymore. I mean, I saw a similar theory smeared in poop in the men's toilets in a bathroom once, but never mind. The next headline being, are Asian Americans white?
No,
she writes.
Article over, I suppose. One paragraph, one sentence, job's a good one.
No, because she's going to define what white really means. Asian Americans are not white. It's true that in certain socioeconomic and demographic measures, such as aggregate income and education levels, suggest that on average, Asian Americans are among the most successful people in the United States, which means you're white. Being successful equals white, according to this person.
The bigger the number in your bank account, the more white you are.
Yeah, and if the white people are failing en masse, then I don't think that metric changes, because I think Asian Americans have overtaken white Americans.
Wait, so if it's based on your bank account, then I'm for all intents and purposes, I'm practically Haitian.
Look, you may have your N-word pass back, but please don't use it on air.
What about the Jewish N-word?
However, she says, many Asian American ethnic groups represent populations experiencing stark economic inequalities. So, to tell if you're white, you've got to have all the money. That's one metric. She says Asian Americans continue to experience discrimination, hate crimes, racial violence, xenophobia, and concerning levels of racial ethnic bullying in schools.
Who from?
Whole other conversation.
Who from?
But the thing is, that's her definition of whether or not you are in the Great White Tribe. If she was going to use that parlance, instead she just used the term white.
If you get bullied.
Do you get bullied for your race? Are people xenophobic and racially violent towards you? And are you experiencing discrimination?
I don't think I'm white.
No, I don't think
you're not white either.
No.
Michael, you're not white. Good news.
This is the funny thing. This is the reason I wanted to do this segment, because as I'm pointing out, none of the white race is white anymore. And all of the
those are the metrics, yeah.
Previously, those who were not in the white race are all in the white race, which is what an amazing time to be alive.
African Americans confirmed white.
Yeah, and no more N-powered passes for those folks.
Barack Obama confirmed white. We knew it all along.
Yeah, and if we go through it, I got to prove it as well, because if we go to the next one here, this is an article from Lotus.com where Ella Hill documented that I think it's 41% of all hate crimes recorded in the UK are against white people, and that's the recorded ones. They don't want to record quite a lot of crimes against white people done against them because they're white as hate crimes, because it's politically inconvenient.
And I bet a lot of people who are white who have racial hate crimes against them also don't want to report it because they don't think they'll be believed, or they think they deserve it on some level, sadly, because a lot of people have been gaslit into hating themselves.
They have. And then we're going to bring up the FBI crime statistics.
Oh, we're getting spicy now.
Wait, okay, don't say anything. The only reason I'm bringing this up is to show
Despite?
that... No.
Oh, okay,
What we're showing here is, as she said, is your ethnic group being disproportionately impacted by racial violence and xenophobia and crime? Well, the murder rate is... You can see their suspects and victims, and I'll let you zoom in your own time. I don't think I'm allowed to say much more. And if you go to 2020, it's not much better either for that statistic in particular. This was from an article called "What's with the Spike in Homicide?" And then, yeah, that's the results.
I don't think they wanted to answer this question after they asked it, did they?
No, they blame white supremacy. Anyway, going to bullying in schools.
Okay.
Because that's also a thing. You may have noticed the Bad Man is back on Twitter, which is where I found this clip.
Oh, is he?
I'll
give him a follow.
Go do that. Otherwise, we shall begin with this clip, which is literally just bullying in schools, but from I don't know, figures of authority in the schools. This is a film, obviously, but this goes on with all kinds of guilt training.
I've seen this floating around, but I've not watched it yet, so you're going to get a nice, genuine reaction out of
I've
me.
cut it down for time, but let's enjoy. What have any of those questions got to do with race?
What have they got to do with girls' football? I mean, that's my big question.
Well, that's just a field they were using.
This is literally just banging into these kids' heads. Who's oppressed? Who isn't? That person at the back, all the way near the centre line, is going to be able to basically bully all the rest of these kids. Or it might turn the other way around.
Well, it's just guilt training. That's all this exercise is. I just can go over how none of those questions have anything to do with race, though. It's just like, do you have to worry about the fact that your parents don't speak English? It's like all the Eastern European kids are like, am I black now? Is that how that works?
It's just trying to brainwash and ingrain the idea of this whole, right, we need to worship the minority.
Yeah.
Under every circumstance. Also, I've been asked where I'm from.
Yeah.
You've been asked where you're from, I bet.
Duh.
Everyone's been asked where they're from. The only reason that it's big news is because some retard got annoyed about it and it got in front page news on the newspapers.
But anyway, just to make it clear, if for no other purpose than YouTube, funnily enough, I think all of this is just hilarious. I'm not a racial scientist from a local socialist party who's out measuring craniums to try and tell you who's in the Great White Tribe. Unlike everyone we've gone through today. I just can't get over.
Now, if you look at this skull...
That's unironically what we've been looking at. But the funny thing is that I want to end on that because that is the stupidest thing I found in relation to race recently, which is Nuance Bro managed to find this. He hasn't linked it yet.
Noted white supremacist Indian man, Nuance Bro.
Yeah, he's linked this YouTube channel, which is just like I suppose the mirror image of what we're looking at on the left there, which is some guy who's trying to tell everyone that the Swiss are not in the white race, and the reason being because he's measured their skulls.
Are you serious?
I'm not joking.
Based on their skulls, that they are Khazars.
Yeah, they're not white. And the thing is, this at least, this somehow makes it even more, it's stupid, it makes no sense, but it makes even more sense than at least the crap we've been subjected to from those articles. So I thought we'd end on it for a laugh.
I thought Swiss Northern European tend to be blonde. Surely that's like as white as you can get.
No, they're Mongols, mate.
Oh, all right, fair play.
He's proved it. He's got his graph. Let's play.
So this here is Switzerland here. These are the borders. Here's France, Germany, Vorarlberg, where they are Swiss. So you can see it stops right neat at the border, here in France and here in Switzerland. They have a completely different skull form. It's like chopped off, neat, clean cut at the border. Yeah. So, and these parts are Alsace here, where they replaced the original population. As I told you, they're ethnic Swiss here, as in the north of Italy here, and in Austria, Vorarlberg. I'm a bit surprised it doesn't show black here in the south of Germany. Very surprised. But it is dark, anyway. It's not like here, like the rest of Europe is white, long skulls.
She's not like those long skulls.
Long skull. I feel like it's going to be like, instead of numbskull, I'm going to start calling people short skulls.
Yeah, okay.
You mongrel short skull.
My point for referencing that is I half expect that to be a Vox video within the end of 2023. Just them explaining why long skulls and short skulls are...
I heard a South African accent, so I assume that was Trevor Noah.
Presumably. he's testing the waters for his new show. But otherwise, there we are. Funnily enough, none of this means anything. If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as the premium articles we do, this one on fitness politics, with an audio track for silver and gold tier members, of course. If you'd like to find out what else we're putting out, you can follow us on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.